we can go ahead.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. Welcome to this live session by Team Ignition here at IIM Lucknow. First of all, hearty congratulations to all of you for securing a WAT-PI call from IIM Lucknow. That itself, puts you in the top 1 percentile of this country, one of the smartest minds to write this examination. So, first, take a moment to, pat yourself in the back for getting this far. I know that the preparation, like we all know here, that the preparation is not easy. It takes a lot of time, effort, energy, a lot to get here this far. And, we're just you know, one final step away from making it to one of your dream B schools. So, as a sort of precursor into this session, we just want to put it out there that you've come this far, okay, but you've not come this far to only come this far, okay. We are going to take you through the process going forward and how we at Team Ignition can help you, seamlessly go through this tough process and also like from a call to onboarding into IIM Lucknow. And we can't wait to see all of you here. Okay, so just to get things started, I'll just quickly explain what Team Ignition here does. So we are the Admission Mentorship Committee here at IIM Lucknow. So we provide support, assistance, and guidance to all call getters and throughout the process to securing admission at IIM Lucknow, and also the onboarding process here once you do secure admission offer. So we have a few of us here, and we'll be, answering all your queries, whatever doubts you have. Please feel free to drop them in the chat box on the screen, and we'll answer them. So we have plenty of time here for Q&A. We have some speakers here as well who will be sort of walking us through what their journey was, like has been through that process of securing an admission call here, and also their life here in IIM Lucknow and how things have gone post admission and how you can make the best out of your time at IIM Lucknow. So yeah, over to you, Prateek. You can introduce the speakers and we'll get started.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Omar. Maybe Chanda, we can shift the slide. So today we have speakers in form from Ignition 37, which is Madhur. So he's a CA by profession, and he interned at Deutsche Bank. Now he's finally placed at Bain and Company. Along with him, his CA buddy is Tiagesh, who's also placed at Bain and Company, and he has interned at Axis Capital. So both of these profiles, you can say consult plus fin oriented. Apart from these, we have Vidhi Agarwal here, who's a BCom graduate from Delhi University, and she's from ABM program, and she has interned at Coca-Cola. We have Anurag also here, who's an engineer, and he interned at Google and right now placed at Paytm. So welcome you all, guys. We'll also be shortly joined by Nehal Garg, who is our Ignition alumni. She'll also be sharing what her journey was and what all things to keep in mind, especially related to WAT-PI. So we'll also listen from her. Yeah, over to you, Viz. Chanda, maybe we can go to slide 1. Yeah, over to you, Madhur.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Madhur.
Hi everyone. Just before I start, so someone from Ignition, so I'm facing certain network issue. If you are not able to hear me, if my voice breaks at any point, please let me know.
Sure, Madhur.
Is that cool, Pratik?
Yes, yes.
All right. Perfect, guys. So, first of all, heartiest congratulations on making it so far. And for the journey from here till probably you reach the gates of the IIM campus that you wish for, we will be here supporting you in the endeavors. So, the primary agenda of this particular session is to give you a broad idea of the entire mentorship program, clear any of the doubts that you might have, and basically use this as a forum to understand more about the interview process, IIM Lucknow, as well as the mentorship program. So that's basically the agenda. You can see a 6-point agenda on the screen. We will run through each part of them, all of us from Ignition 37, and post which we will be happy to take up any doubts. If you have any doubts in between, you can just put it up on chat. If it is something that we think that would be relevant at that point of time, we would surely take that up. So with that, we can begin. All right. So let's go to the first one. Introduction to mentors. So while of course Team Ignition forms one branch of mentors for you uh, all of you who would have enrolled in time for the mentorship program would have already received details of certain folks from IIM Lucknow who are in the current batch, the first year batch, who would be there to support you through the process. So, what is the idea of this, right? So these are the people who have been exactly in the shoes that you are right now 1 year back. They have had the flavor of how exactly the preparation strategy has to go, what the interviewers are looking for, and just probably bring you up to speed with I am Lucknow specific details as well, in terms of what are the expectations in general of the professors over here, what kind of questions they might be more inclined to be asking, and so on and so forth, to leverage them for all these resources. Also, you would have noticed that the mentors would have a similar profile to you, so you can leverage them throughout the process in terms of your academic, just revising your academic journey, your professional pursuits, etc. So that's how you can make the best use of the mentors, and be rest assured that you can reach out to them without any hesitation at any point of time, right? If there is any mentor who might not be as responsive, you can of course contact Team Ignition, who will be there to support you. Probably we will try to reach out to mentor and figure out the problems that there might be. But apart from that, you can use them for having your mock interview sessions, for in general just helping you understand how can you build your CV, how can uh, you can know about more about I am Lucknow. So that's basically the idea. So at this point, we'll just take a moment of pause. If you have any doubt with any of these factors right now, just probably you can bring that up. Just probably take a break of 10-20 seconds over here, and we can move on from there. Also, if I missed out anything, Tiagesh, Vidhi, Anurag, if any one of you want to pitch in, please feel free.
No, Madhur, it seems quite exhaustive. Maybe we can take all the
Yeah.
questions that are
Okay,
coming
perfect.
up
Perfect.
at the end, and maybe we'll wrap up with what we
Okay.
have in the deck,
All right.
and then we'll take all the questions one by one.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds fair. Just a second. Okay, guys. So the second point agenda is the personal interview preparation strategy, right? Uh, so over here, while I would go deeper into this, can we just move on to the next slide? I would cover the pillars of PI as well, along with this. So we have bifurcated the entire bucket of what you need to prepare for your interviews into these six strong buckets, uh, which should majorly cover the major aspects which we ask at the interview. So I will just cover upon them, and then for each of them, we can dwell into what can be your interview preparation strategy, right? I also have Shreya with me. She's facing certain issues, so she is joining in on the same laptop with me. So we each will just quickly run you through this. So to start with, is question-based question, basically what we call as sort of HR questions. So this again form a very important part of the entire interview, right? It is something that sets the tone for your interview. and it is something that you can use as a channel to drive the interview. Now, before I go into that, right, there are two ways an interview can go. One is either you drive the interview, or the second is an interviewer drives the interview. Now, when you are driving the interview, you can actually have, certain hooks in the answers that you give, or uh, certain points where an interviewer might be tempted to ask you a question, and that's how the interview might go, and that would be in your comfort zone, and that is when you would be at your best, right? Rather than something coming very randomly from the interview. So for that, personality based questions form a very important role. Just basic questions. So Team Ignition has also shared a certain list of questions on the Instagram page Ignition, as well as you could find it in WAT-PI kit. If you go through it, just simple like tell me about yourself, why MBA, what are your short-term goals, what are your long-term goals, any weaknesses, any situations where you might have faced conflict, so on and so forth. These are something and answers which need a lot of introspection on your part. You need to just probably sit back, think about different phases of your life, how you dealt with it, have them probably jot them down, and then probably go through these questions and try and analyze how you can fit it logically into those particular answers. Now,
So,
yeah.
one thing I would like to add, introspectively written down all the answers or that would
Shreya, can
so
you
uh,
speak from near the mic? Your voice is not really audible.
yeah. I think one thing that I would like to add is that after you write down all your answers, important that you also practice speaking them out loud. So your answers should not seem like you learned.
Shreya, you're not that much audible. Could you please?
Okay. Yash, can you hear me?
Yes, Madhur.
Yeah,
All
Madhu,
right.
we can hear you.
All right, not sure why Shreya is not audible, but I will just cover what she was trying to say. So, what she is basically telling guys is, like I mentioned, jot down the different points that you might have throughout your life. Try to really correlate it with the answers. What is also important is practicing them, speaking them out, but in such a way that it does not look rehearsed, right? So, probably for the questions like about the weaknesses or about why MBA, etc. You can just have a broad outline about it and then just practice it over and over again. Each time, probably the what you're speaking might be a bit different, but I'm sure it would be more refined each and every time. And that is how you can go about proceeding. That is what worked for me. For different people, it might be different. I have seen people who like an entire script written and then stick to that script. But again, it now depends on how well you are able to deliver the same. So this becomes more of a personal thing, and this is something that you can again work on with your mentors as well as other people who are there to support you as to what would work best for you. So before I forget, just what I was trying to I was going to say was about the percentage based question as well. Is in these questions, prepare the question such that uh, they bring out certain qualities in you or certain incidents about you which show certain character, show a drive in you as well as give a sketch about your personality. They should not be just to tick off, I have this weakness, this weakness, this weakness. No, but something like if you're talking about weaknesses, right? Just be more introspective on how you think that weakness might have impeded you and then how you have worked on it and what has helped you overcome that weakness and probably then a story to follow up on it. So something on those lines, right? Which gives a personality sketch of you as well as, like I earlier mentioned, gives you a chance of driving the interview in your area of comfort. Uh, that is something that you can do. uh, Shreya, would you like to add anything? Just check if your audience is so.
Yeah, guys. So, should I move on to the next part?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, the next part is basically your academics. So in academics, basically, it's very important to cover the some of the like whatever you've done in your UG. It's very important that you know it really well. So some of the subjects, like if you're saying, if someone asks you what is your favorite subject, and you name a subject, you should be very very well prepared with those questions. Like if, for example, if you're saying that I'm an engineer, your basic questions should be very right. If you're saying I'm a CA, like your basic FRA concept should be very, very clear.
I guess Shreya, you are stuck. So what she was saying is the basics.
So just revise some of the concepts that you've studied and be prepared to answer questions. Yeah, I'm audible now, right?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, sure. You're audible now.
Stuck for a moment in between, but now it's fine.
Good. So the next part is your work ex part. So some people would not have worked at all, but probably would have done some internships and everything. And the second part would be people who have actually worked. So whatever you are working, so there should be things like what have you done in X number of years. You should be very thorough and clear on what is the contribution that you made. So work-ex can be technical as well as HR. So in technicals,
Uh, Shreya, your voice is breaking. I guess
yeah,
some internet issue at your end. Maybe work expert someone
HR
else can
in
take up.
terms of was your experience? What did you like about your work?
Maybe Tyagesh, you can cover on work expert since you have worked at Deloitte
Yeah,
before joining IIM Lucknow.
I think
Just
Shreya Mashal, I'm just taking over this part. Yeah. So hey guys, I mean, first of all, congratulations. I mean, with respect to work experience, what they primarily used to test is like how far you have like covered all the aspects of in your work. Basically, like if you're only focused on your work, or you're there as a team building candidate, or you have shown your leadership skill as well. Here, what they wanted to understand is what are the kind of innovative stuff that you have brought in your interview, like or during your work experience time. I think that is what more important. And general awareness is, I think you guys must be like joining a lot of coaching centers, and they must be training you a lot, right? I mean, in addition to that, we also have our PI kit. We will be covering the basic general knowledge things that is required. I mean, the current happenings. I mean, you start from right now from, I think even from today, it's fine. I mean, you just go through the business news and business articles. That will be helpful. And with respect to abstract, I think they might ask you like, what is red versus blue? The topic can be like as simple as that, just red versus blue. Like here, how far you can think about like starting from like for example the red ocean strategy or blue ocean strategy, or whatever you could think about in the abstract lens. I think this is look at your presence of mind and how you are able to lead the show. And then with respect to your extracurricular activities, if you are very sure, like suppose for example you have you have mentioned in your cover letter or in your resume that you are a good badminton player, so you should be aware about like in and about badminton, like who played for India, like how many medals that we have won, who is the current who is there in the current leaderboard, or even including the size of the badminton court, and how come it will be relevant. So to that nuance you have to know, and I think that will be the another aspect with respect to your personal interview. And moving on to next slide.
To add one thing regarding the hobbies part, which Tyagesh covered. So he was talking about badminton. So I was faced with similar questions. So you must be aware about the latest news for that sport as well. So speaking of badminton, right now India Open is in trend. So just study thoroughly about all the major tournaments happening around that time. So that also helps. Yeah, Tyagesh, over to you.
Yeah, I think next slide.
General,
Ready?
general awareness you can cover.
Yeah, I covered about general awareness.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think next part is how to face interviews, right? I mean, it's a D-Day and all the tension and the pressure that will be built on. I just realize that you are already there in the top 1%, right? I mean, that's why you are there in the person interview round. So you are already a successful person and you have come this far. Your knowledge is at par, like that is required for the B schools, and your skill sets are much relevant. That should be there for a leader, right? I mean, so just maintain that calmness. I mean, that is what more important. And you can't just show up just like that for the interview, like without any preparation. You need to prepare for that, and always keep a smile on your face. I think that really helps. I mean, at many a times, like they might put you in a stress situation. For example, I can give you a situation that was given to me. Like I mentioned about forensic audit in my cover letter. So they asked me like, if you are a forensic auditor for DHFL and you wanted to find out the fraud in the next 6 hours, like what are the things that you will be looking for? So it was just a presence of mind question, right? I mean, there is you can't prepare for this and all this stuff, but you just need to understand in a forensic audit, like what are the things that you will be doing, like starting from the resources that is required, coordination with the management, and what are the things that you will be looking upon. So these are the things that you need to cover in a more structured manner, and you should not like beat around the bush, and you have to be very structured and clear, like what you wanted to say and what you wanted to cover in that interview. And it's okay if you are not able to cover every aspect, it's completely fine, but always have a smiling face and be confident about whatever you are saying. I mean, two most important things I think that worked out for any B school aspirants was the confidence and the attitude that they are present. Okay, like how confident they are able to present and what is the attitude. Like if they are putting you in any tough situation, will you be able to handle? Like you are going to be the managers in the future and leaders in the long run, right? I mean, that's very important. And another aspect that I would like to cover is also about the surroundings. I mean, in the offline setup, you might be surrounded by a lot of people, and the environment might be completely tense. It's okay, you can completely switch off your mind with respect to your surroundings. I mean, just focus on like what you have come for, like be it if your interview is happening in Bangalore or Mumbai or in a particular hotel, everyone might be tensed and they might be asking like what are the kind of questions they were asking, how did your interview go and all this stuff. You can remain calm, you need not get panic. Everyone's journey is completely different. I mean, you go with the preparation that you're making. I think that is completely fine. And if you want, like keep in like constant touch with your parents or friends, I think that would help. I mean, rather than interacting much with your other co-interviewers, I think the surrounding really matters. And yeah, and whatever life example that you are going to cover, be it any situation that they are going to give, I mean, try to correlate with some of your life instances, like how you have shown your leadership qualities in the past, and what are the kind of activities that you have taken up to show that you are the leader, or be it in any example, like cover both the depth and the breadth aspect of it. I think that is more important. And definitely, guys, I mean, be in a very presentable manner, and then wear a business formals, and always hold a smiling face. I think that would help you to crack the interview on the D day. Yeah. Next slide, Pratik.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, with
Yeah,
you are.
you're audible.
Hi everyone. So first of all, congratulations for making it this far. And so now I will briefly take you through the resources which you can refer to for all your preparation that is required for your VAT and PI. So starting with the VAT-PI kit, like Team Ignicion has already provided you a very comprehensive VAT-PI kit, right? So it essentially includes a lot of past PI experiences that are from your from the IIM Lucknow like first year and second year students itself. So you can have a very detailed idea about what are the kind of questions asked for each type of domains. So I think we have covered questions for every kind of background that may be possible, and so you can really get an idea of what kind of questions you might expect in the interview. Apart from that, from the past PI experiences, we also have like a set of probable questions which might be expected from different domains. So, for example, there is a separate section for ABM, right? If you are a ABM candidate, then what kind of questions can you specifically expect on that domain, or if you're an engineer or a commerce graduate for that matter. So, a list of questions have been compiled very comprehensively, and apart from that, it also gets you through the different general knowledge questions that might be expected, and what are the current affairs going through. So it's a very comprehensive kit, and you can really get a idea, like things at one place as to what all you should refer to. If and as I think someone mentioned earlier, it's not too late if you haven't started. So you don't need to panic, and I think just prepare accordingly on all the domains. Apart from that, even you can also refer the Ignition Instagram page, where we have been posting expected HR questions for different domains, or important topics which you can expect in the WAT-PI according to your recent trends which have been happening. So that is one thing. Apart from this, something very useful which we recommend you to utilize fully is the mentors which have been allocated by Team Ignition. So how essentially this happens is that we try to map mentors who are your first year IIM Lucknow students right now, and we try to map them according to your profile. So as per your domain or work experience, the mentor allocation is done, and we actually recommend you to exploit this completely. Like you can literally treat them as your buddy throughout the process, right from your WAT-PI to your onboarding, and you can actually like ask them any questions which you have, and you need not worry at all. You can just feel free to ask them whatever you have in mind, right? You don't need to worry if it's a stupid question or they will judge you, because there's nothing like that. They were there in your position just 1 year back. So that is something, and you should also actually try and schedule mock PIs with them, because that is, I think, will actually give you the confidence as well as really prepare you for the D-Day. Because if you have that practice of having mock PIs, that will really boost up your confidence, which is required for the day. Plus, they have been in your position just 1 year back, so they can actually be very helpful in that matter. Third, coming to your ACADS. So, since we know that, I think we already covered this in detail, that ACADS can form a very important part, and not just for the people like freshers, but even for work experience people. ACADS can become a focus of your interview. So, especially starting with fresher, I would suggest that you should be very, very thorough with your ACADS, and not just the major subjects, but even like you should have a fair idea across the subjects which you have covered. But of course, you can like pick 2 3 subjects where you can get deeper into it and have a very thorough idea on that. So for example, if you're a commerce student, right, so you should ideally go through all the your financial accounting or your economic subjects, because these are something which are generally important from an interview point of view. And even if you're a workex, it may depend that it really varies from panel to panel, whether academics will become a point of focus or not. But always having a general idea about say 2 3 subjects will always be in your favor, because they may ask you to pick up like 2 or 3 of your favorite subjects and go around that. So that may help. And the last thing, of course, general knowledge is something which is very important. So just apart from the current affairs that we have provided as Team Ignition, you should currently go through all the current trends which have been happening in the economy, be it economical, political, or especially if you have some specialized area of interest and you think that you can actually be good at this, then as we mentioned earlier, you can actually drive the interview and start talking around some topic, and the interview can, you never know, may just go in that direction. So I would say that always play to your strengths, and even if this is not, I mean, for a matter, I know that for most of the students, this is something which they're usually very scared of, current affairs. So just be aware of the latest happenings which have been happening in the world. But even if some question pops up where you're not really aware of what is happening, the key is that you don't really have to panic at that moment. You can always say that this is something that I don't recollect, or I will read on later on, just to show a positive attitude that you're ready to learn. So I think that will really help you. Yeah, so we can move on to the next slide.
Okay, guys, I'll try
Okay.
to cover this part. First of all, congratulations everyone on coming this far. And yeah, things are gonna get better after some time. But yeah, interview tips. when we talk about it, it's okay to say no. Yeah, like there will be a lot of question when you are sitting in an interview. They might ask you something about which you don't know, and at that point, you don't have to get panicked and you don't have to think twice, like, what exactly are they trying to ask and how can I answer this question in a very good way. If you don't know about something, just be very clear, like, you don't have much idea about this thing, but still, I would like to try something if it's relevant. Otherwise, you don't have to drag that part very long. Like, understand this thing, when they are taking your interview, their only agenda is to understand you as a person, like how are you as a candidate, what will you do, and what are your strong points and weak points. So of course they will have some question in their end. They'll try to they will these questions will be related only to your CADs or your workex, or where are you from exactly. So they, like, for example, they asked me about some of the political party, and I had no idea about that. So I was just trying to answer that in some other way. But at the end, they only told me that if you don't know, you can always say no, right? So that's very important. Like, you don't have to just say random things. It's better to say no, that you don't have an idea about this thing. And secondly, this is your chance. Like, once you're sitting in a personal interview, just think about this thing, that you have done everything, like, whatever it takes, and this is the last point, this is the finishing line. Now everything is about you, everything, like, the reason it's personal interview, because you have to explain yourself, you have to tell them that why you are fit in this role, and why they should be taking you in this part. So yeah, just try to tell them, just try to highlight what exactly, how exactly are you as a person, what have you achieved, and so for an example, just to take an example, I spoke about football, like, that football is something which I keep on playing, and it's something which is really close to me, and I've learned a lot of things. But on the other hand, you have to be thorough with it, like, don't globe. So for an example, I was expecting that if you guys know, there is English Premier League, so I was expecting some question on that end. But they asked me, like, what exactly happened in Indian Super League, which is a Indian league, and they asked me about the team which play in that league. So yeah, it's not that they're not gonna dig you down. Of course they're gonna dig you. Of course they're gonna ask you a very random question. But again, it's totally up to you how you drive that, how you tell them, what to ask, what are your highlighting part. And it's not like they're gonna go in your CADs very thoroughly. Whatever is your highlight, they just want to check how fit are you, how can you cope up with the curriculum or everything like that. So I guess these are the major interview tips. Like, from my end, I won't bore you much with a lot of these. I'm sure you guys will do better. Amazing job. And I guess, guys, if anyone else want to add anything, you can add, or else we'll go for the questions, because a lot of questions are coming, and I think a lot of people are curious to know the answer.
Okay, we also have Debolina here. She's also a chartered accountant by profession. So, welcome, Debolina. And maybe I'll read out the questions that people have asked. So, each one of us can take whatever they feel comfortable with. So, someone asked, what makes IIM L unique for candidates? So, anyone wants to take that up?
I think I'll take it up. I think the IML rigor is what it makes unique, and the kind of bond that you develop between friends. I mean, I think that is something amazing. The kind of knowledge that you share from different domain, and the clubs and committees that is present over here, and the entrepreneurship opportunity that you get on campus. I think that is something unique that you don't find in any other place. I think this is what I am Lucknow unique.
Okay, so before going on to the next question, we have our special guest Nehal, who's our alum from IIM Lucknow. So welcome, Nehal. Maybe if you could speak a bit about how was your experience of interview, if you recall it, or what special tips you want to give to the candidates for this year.
Hey, yes, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me, guys. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, Nehal, you are audible.
Yeah, Nehal, you're
Okay,
audible.
great. And hi, everybody. Hope you're all doing fine. I think everybody must have spoken a lot about, their interview tips and how can you ace it. But I have just one tip that, I personally feel that always works for me and has worked for me, is that uh, sometimes you don't know what the answer to what the interviewer is asking you, okay? But there's always a way to pivot the answer in a direction, or pivot the interview in a direction that you wanted it to, right? So I'll give you an example that happened with me. So, in one of the IIM interviews, I was asked about, and I hadn't prepared too much about, general knowledge. I was working, and things were a little busy with me, so I couldn't prepare a lot for general knowledge. So, there was a question that was asked to me about, how many ports are there in India, and I didn't know. I didn't want to say 5 or 10 or anything. I said, hey, these are the cities that are, in and around the coastal areas of India. And even if I think that, there would be 1 or 2 ports in each of these areas. So I'm guessing about these many. Okay. So he just said that, okay, then let's, do you really think that this is the one which is near the coast? And from there on, the conversation went entirely to, India in general. Okay, if this is the city, what do you like more about this city? And I kept stressing on some cities in general, because I knew that if I do that, I will be asked more about those cities, or what do I like more about them, or maybe, which state is it in, or have I been there, and so on and so forth. And actually, the interview went entirely in a different direction. It started off from general knowledge, and it ended close to, whether or not women should, have certain rights, because the city that we were talking about had a women chief minister at that time. And it completely went in a different direction. So, and that direction I was kind of comfortable in. So sometimes when you don't know the answer to a particular question, it's absolutely okay. Just be confident in a direction that you feel that, you're more comfortable in, and try and take it there. So apart from everything else, of course, study well, prepare for your general knowledge, prepare for, 1 or 2 subjects, especially if you're a fresher. Try and read up about your subjects, because for freshers specifically, they ask all of these things. For people who've had work experience, they of course ask you things about, what you've done differently, or why is it that you want to do an MBA and all of that. But not always do you know the answer to, even after preparing so much, to the questions that are asked. So this is something that I really follow and works for me.
And also, Nehal, maybe you can just share, like, how was your VAT experience? Because this year, I think after a 2-3 year break, that they're introducing VAT again. So maybe
Okay.
if you can just tell people what they can expect in VAT, and like what tips they
Yeah.
can follow while writing.
So, VAT is a completely, so when you prepare for your interviews, right, as you study more, as you learn about things that are going in and around you, as you learn more about things that have happened in the past, as you learn about things that are a little more abstract in nature, right? Not necessarily related to a particular topic, but just, opinion based things that you read, editorials that you start reading a lot. That's when you are already studying for your written ability test, right? So, like the topics that I was given were who should be the next prime minister of India. Okay, like one of them. Another interview, I had a completely different this thing about, red versus black, right? So, uh, of course, the uniqueness of what you write is definitely one thing. The time within which you finish it is definitely something, and how much, like, what are the tangents that you can explore when you write about a certain topic. So, for example, when I was writing about red versus black, it was not just about the color. For me, I tried to explore, uh, people as red or black, or cities or as red or black, or cars as red or black, or content as red or black, like blood with red, or something else altogether different with black. So the different tangents that you could possibly introduce when you're writing your written examination, I think that is where it really works in your favor. Of course, I think there's some time word limit that was there in our time, and people were really this thing about, those who've written it within it, and time limit. But apart from that, I think the ones that really stood out were these specific ones.
Thanks a lot, Nihal. We have one of our alum, Kumar Shubham, here with us. He's from class of 2021. He's currently working as a product manager at Paytm. So, hi Shubham, really great to host you here. So, it would be grateful if you can also share your VAT experience with the candidates.
Hey Ivan, hope you all are doing super great.
Yeah.
Sorry if my voice is breaking a bit. I hope it's fine. So I think Nehal added pretty much of it. I think I would just say there are three things that I understood from the experience of my VAT across different interview processes. One is that you should have an opinion for sure, because often it happens, for example, that Nehal took red versus black. You cannot simply add content to your essay or to the VAT topic. You should have some opinion of what you are trying to portray, how unique you are compared to other people. Second, your opinion should be presented in a proper structure. So while I was preparing, I was taught many different I can say frameworks. Like you can either talk in binary, like you can talk about the advantages versus disadvantages, or you can talk about how, what, why, when, etc. Like that kind of framework, or there are different frameworks. So you should have a proper structure of what you're trying to convey and how you're trying to convey that. And then finally, the content also does make sense, because you have to keep your English grammar and everything to the point, because that is something that they do evaluate you on. So even when you're writing, you start with an introduction, you end it with a conclusion. There has to be a proper body structure. So I think these are the three very important elements in terms of content, opinion, and structure that one should follow in VAT. And once you are able to do that, I think it would be super great for everyone. And yes, the topics can be very abstract. It can revolve around anything social, anything to do with current affairs, or even to do with some specific topic that is going around. So I think be prepared for anything, because I don't think any of my interview VAT questions were very straightforward. They were as unique or weird as Nia said, like red versus black, or what is your opinion on the current on demonetization or on the GST process, etc. So it's either some opinion based or something where they want to see your knowledge around the current affairs. So yes, that has been my experience. Happy to share anything else.
Thank you so much, Shubham. And also, maybe you can just share to the call getters like how the offline process would be different from maybe the online process, because both us and our seniors, we have seen online interviews. So our entire interview took place via Zoom and whatever link was shared to us. So maybe you can just tell us like some tips of attending the offline interviews.
Uh, I think, like if I go stage by stage, right? I think very important thing is how you present yourself for the very first thing. So you have to be disciplined. So in an online interview, like if your interview is at 4 p.m., you can be as disorganized as you want at 3:59, but the same cannot happen in an offline interview, because if the interview is at 4 o'clock, you have to be there at the center by 3 o'clock. You would be seated in a particular room, and there would be people from the same organization. For example, that if you are attending it for IIM Lucknow, there would be our own academicians from IIM Lucknow who would be uh, sending you instructions for filling up some documents, etc. So you have to be very much disciplined. Then, when you are called for the interview, obviously, obviously in online as well as offline interview, you have to be well groomed at both the places. But in offline interviews, you don't only have to be well groomed, but you also have to maintain your posture and your uh, calm at the time of interview. And then obviously they do put you into in stress situations. So for example, for me, both I am Lucknow and one another I am interview was a stress based interview. So they were asking me questions, and uh, I was answering them, but still they were trying to put a pressure on me that no, whatever you are answering is not correct. So at that point in time, you have to keep your calm. You have to show them that you are confident on your answer, provided your answer is correct. And I think such cases are you'll have to prepare yourself. I think these are some of the nuances that you have to keep in mind while you are appearing for offline interviews. Um, Otherwise, I think more or less the experience is same because the type of questions you will be asked and the parameters on which you would be judged are more or less the same.
Thanks a lot, Kumar Shubham. So we will thank first Kumar, Shubham, and Nehal for taking out their time from their busy schedule, since they are also working and they are prestigious alum of our university. So thanks a lot. Moving on to the questions, uh, Anish Singh asked, "Is it true that in PI the profs grill you on your undergrad subject even if you have 2 years plus of work ex?" In continuation, he asked, "I have 2 year gap after graduation. Will it be a problem? And can I justify this gap year by saying I was investing in stock market and learning during that?"
Pratik, I think I can take that up. So, just to answer that question, I personally know someone within my class itself who has exactly the same gap year, 2 years of gap year plus investing in stock and that thing that you mentioned. So yeah, as long as you're able to justify it in a very articulate manner and really convince the panelists, or in this case the professors who interview you, that you made good use of your time, and not like you were not wasting it and you had a productive use of it, that shouldn't be a problem. And coming back to your earlier question, which is they will grill you on academics, even though you have 2+ years of work experience. See, understand that the purpose of an interview is to gauge like how well a candidate does what is expected of them, right? So when you're going to interview, like like when you're coming out of campus, like if you're a fresher, you can be asked, like the expectation for you is when you're on campus for you to study. So the question would be around academics. But when you're coming in with 2 years of experience, you can expect that there can be things from academics and there can be things from your work experience as well. That was a similar case for myself as well. I was asked in certain interviews, like half my interview was around academics and half my interview was around my work experience. So when they went into the academics, they went very deep, like very deep theoretical stuff, straight from the textbooks. So it's a good idea that you should be well aware of whatever your academic background is, if you're engineering, commerce, whatever the case is. So in my case, I was an engineer. So knowing all the theoretical stuff really helps you. And you really don't want to take a chance, right? So regardless of whether what we're saying today, at the end of the day, on the basis of the mood of that panelist, things can go either way. So why take a chance? You have the time right now, so do prepare, brush up on all the old concepts and things like that, and come back into it. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Omar. Another bucket of questions I can see is like people are asking for difference between PGP and ABM, and they are asking, they have interview for both PGP and ABM. Will the same interview be there, or they have different interviews? And ops project for ABM. Maybe Tamish or Vidhi, since you are from ABM course, so you can take this up.
Sure, Pratik, I can take that up. So, yeah, so for PGP and ABM, the interview process is common. There is no different interview held for both of them. So, talking about my example itself, I had an interview, I had a call from both PGP as well as ABM, and I had a common interview. And coming to the questions expected in the interview, right? So it really depends from panel to panel as to whether they will get into like what kind of questions do they want to ask you. So for like I can divide this into two parts. Firstly, there will be some students who will have an agricultural background who will be applying for ABM, and secondly, there will be some students. For example, I did not have any agricultural background. I am a commerce student. So at least for me, like my interview, did not revolve around agribusiness at all. Like I had questions purely on my HR or like basically about myself, my acads or my the work experience that I had. And as we mentioned earlier, also, it really depends on you on how you want to drive your interview. So essentially for me, how it went was like whatever I mentioned in my introduction about myself, right? I mentioned about my hobbies or any interest that I'm pursuing, and the interview completely went into that direction and a bit on my CAD. So it never actually went to the agribusiness side. And honestly, that is something in your hands to an extent because I didn't want to go it into that direction as well. But having said that, if I speak about some people like in my batch who have had similar experiences, the interview can go in the direction in other direction as well. You can expect questions like why agribusiness specifically if you're not a person from an agri background. So you might want to justify that why you're looking to join this program, and you should always be well versed with the current happenings which are the current trends which are happening in the agribusiness industry. So you can always speak about that, and that will play to your advantage. But having said that, I mean, it completely depends on the candidates, and you should not overthink as to if whether you were asked an agribusiness question or not. What does that mean? Because honestly, I think it does not mean anything. It does just depends on the interview's discretion as to what do they want to look out of you. So whether they ask you those questions or not.
I think Vidhi got disconnected from the call. Uh, so I'll continue with what she said, as I'm also an ABM student first year. So I have a core agri background. And for the people who are coming into ABM with a core agri background, I think you should be well versed with your graduation topics, and you can totally expect agriculture related questions. And also, what the why ABM question is common for all if you are from an agri background or if you are from some other background. So be well versed with why do you actually want to get into this program. So that is all for the ABM thing.
Okay, thanks, Tamish. Next set of questions is about the introduction or tell me about yourself. So people want to ask like how it should look and should it be inclusive of YMB answer as well?
I think I can take that up.
Yeah, sure, Debulina.
So in the introduction, it should kind of show your story, your life journey, how much ever you could explain it. It should not simply be explaining your CV or just points one by one. If you can bring out a story through your introduction, that would be great. It catches the attention. Why MBA should not ideally be answered through your introduction, because that depends on the interviewer whether they would like to ask you or not. I think just focus on building a story. Maybe it could be a chronological story as to, okay, this is how I went about my studies and then I went about work experience or whatever. Or it could also bring out a quality in you that I am a creative individual, etc., etc. So yeah, that's about the introduction bit.
And another common bucket that I can see is about VAT. So some general instructions about VAT are it would be of roughly around 20 minutes. You will have to write on some general topic, and the word limit should be around 300 words. All specific instructions should be given to you on the day of exam, and they will also explain very clearly. So make sure like please adhere to the work limit, and as Kumar Shubham already said and some part Nehal also covered, please stick to a structure in VAT as well. Another set of questions that is there is how do you justify like you are choosing IIM L over ABC if they have all 3 or 4 calls? Anyone here who has faced such question?
I've had an experience of so a similar question was asked to me during my interviews, and I was pretty clear about that. That if in case there is a better call that I have, I'll go for that better college itself, and that was the answer that I gave.
So in general,
Yeah, just being honest, just
Yeah.
being honest here would be the idea, because I think to a certain extent, even they know that the basic intention would be to be honest throughout your interview, okay? Because like once at some point, if you're caught like not being honest or kind of fabricating an answer, from there's no rescue in the interview. So at all points, be honest. like we said in the presentation itself, it's okay to say no if you don't know really. Like admit it. It's better to go down that direction than to dig yourself into a hole.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you
go
can
ahead,
be
Pratik. Yeah.
diplomatic also here. I mean, you not give a, can be diplomatic here, and you can say like you're still evaluating it,
Yeah.
and it's up to like which one you convert, right? I mean, during the interview time, you don't know like which one you will be converting. So you can't be very. You can't give a very specific answer, but yeah, at the end, like being honest always helps.
And yeah, always you can answer by saying certain things that you might feel are unique to, say, IML, maybe a particular company or a particular field that you feel is probably better in IML through your connections. You can always say that, okay, I have spoken to a few people in IML. This is the experience I've heard. Maybe this I find better. But obviously, be honest, and whatever you feel, you can try to evaluate and say, I'm still evaluating, and if they still press, then maybe you can give the suggestions as what we suggested right now.
Okay. Now, another set of question is like, what is the duration of an average interview, and how do they really ask you to show the proofs of grade sheets and all? So regarding grade sheets and all, I guess there is a document verification before every interview. So you have to show your grade sheets, and average duration, it generally lasts around for quite. It varies a lot. For some of them, some of us, it varies from 10 minutes. For other, it was around 20 minutes too. Any other experiences if you guys have and can want to share?
I think typically it will be around 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, it also depends upon the total number of candidates that they want to see on a particular day. So I think it completely varies on that.
Okay, thanks, Tegish. Another set of question is around the SM course. So we have Ayush here from the SM. Maybe he can share his experience of his PGP SM course interview. Over to you, Ayush.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So, first of all, I will start with the interviewing process, about what kind of questions they ask. So, first of all, you should know about the what is sustainable management, the triple bottom line, the ESG concept. These all kind of little things you should know about during the interviewing process. But overall, after the interview experience, or and I will share experience of mine of from the college. So, if we see sustainable management, it is required in every stream of MBA. If you can see, first of all, if we look at operations, so carbon emissions and the waste management, all these kind of things comes under sustainable management. So, under operation background, from HR, if we see, so the policies of the company, the whistleblower policies, and all kind of structuring better in a better way. So this also comes under the sustainable management. So each stream have sustainability aspect of it, and if you see nowadays sustainability is gaining a lot of traction. So all these kind of things. So in the end, I would say best of luck. And if you have any particular question regarding the SM, please keep in the chat box. Thank you.
So there are some questions regarding like my background is XYZ. Do you suggest some questions on that? So for that, I would suggest you to go through the PI kit that we already shared. In that, we have quite segregated all the questions from each domain. You can check these, and even there are past experience questions as well. So you can refer that. Another question revolves around ABM.
You can also leverage the.
Yeah, Tiagesh, sorry.
You can also leverage your. No worries. You can also leverage your mentors that is allotted to you. Like that will help you the most.
Exactly. Another question by Sanchit Chaudhary. He says, can ABM students take up jobs in other domains that the PGP candidates take up?
Yeah, so I'll address that question. So, being an agribusiness student does not limit your opportunities in any way, right? Whether be it in like the opportunities you get throughout your that campus, or even speaking about placements. So, like talking about my batch and a senior batch, plus even
Sorry, Vidya, I guess your connection is unstable. Maybe
I
Tamish,
think
you
what
can.
she was mentioning was like it's not restricted to particular domain only. Pratik, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you, Tegesh.
Yeah, in terms of opportunity, there is no difference. I mean, once you are into this MBA program, then I mean, PGP and ABM are treated at par, except for the second year electives where it might vary. And in terms of placements, like there is no difference, and then everyone will be allowed to sit and look at the process at par. I mean, there is no difference between PGP or ABM program in that aspect. And I've seen like a lot of folks who have got into consulting, finance domain, everything from ABM as well. So it's not only
Also,
restricted to.
yes, Tyagesh.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Also, so as to if in case the question is why if in case you have to choose between Ahmedabad, FABM and ABM, then you could obviously pitch in this point as well. So that is something that you guys always use this as an answer there as well,
Okay, thanks.
because the placements are similar.
Yeah, thanks, Yash. Uh, Next question is by Vishaka. How thorough should we be about the specialization we would like to pursue? Are we expected to have theoretical knowledge of operation strategy, finance, etc.?
I can take that up here. So specializations are decided in your second year. So that's something that probably you wouldn't be asked in your interview. You may or may not have knowledge about the specializations you want to take in your second year, because that's too far, right? So that's something you don't have to know. If I have to take my example, I'm a chartered accountant. People would expect me to take a finance specialization, but I don't have a finance specialization. So there's no restriction at all based on your background. It's up to you, the electives you choose, and it's all in the second year.
Okay, thanks, Debolina. Next question is for all three courses PGP, PGP ABM, and PGP SM. All the Are the placements drives same or different for others? Okay, I'll answer that only. So for PGP ABM and PGP course, which are being conducted at Lucknow campus, the placement drives are exactly same. We sit together for almost all the same companies and give tests together. For PGP SM, there is a different drives because that course is being conducted at our Noida campus. So maybe Ayush, you can throw some light on that.
Yes, so placement process is here conducted differently. We have a separate team of placement cell from here, and we are getting very good placements from this year on, because as we know, the BRSR is being is done compulsory by the government for the top 1,000 companies, and lot of consultancies companies are also coming in this area. So yes, we are having good placements. Or if you want to check the figures, you can go to our site and check the placement reports.
Yeah, you can always refer to the placement reports of PGP, PGPSM, and PGP ABM for your reference. Another thing, someone is asking, share a little about waitlist movements. So, can anyone take this up?
See, yeah, I personally came out of the waitlist almost towards the end. So I can tell you, see, the waitlist movements cannot be predicted all the time. Okay, they are quite, changing every year depending on certain factors and a multitude of factors actually. So it's not exactly a predictable case, but I would say that if you are, say, waitlisted, okay, um, don't give up hope, okay, until the admission is actually over. Okay, that if you have a Lucknow waiting list and say your number is quite a bit high, like in three digits and things like that, it is still possible that you can convert your call. You never know. Okay, so like at the same time, obviously you might have uh, like converts from other colleges, and then you'll be faced with a difficult like decision whether do I wait for this call, like for this to convert, like do I like gamble my chances there, or do I like accept the call there. So you have to really assess your priorities, that what it is that you want to do, because and again that depends on a case to case basis, because a person who has written cat for the first time might look at things differently from a person who's written cat, say this is their third attempt or things like that. So you have to really assess your priorities and understand. So when it comes to the waiting list movement, like it changes every year. I think that like there are certain portals and things like that where they track the waiting list movements and things. So I think you can find those things online. But if you ask like specifically how much the waiting list movement is, like we can't really tell how much that is. But overall, yeah, just you have to evaluate your options from a personal perspective as well. If you're getting converts from other places and things like that.
Yeah, thanks, Omar. Another set of
Yeah,
questions.
it's too far-fetched, right? I mean, one step
Yeah, sorry, Tyagesh.
too far-fetched. I mean, one step at a time, and then focus on your personal interview right now. Try to crack it
Yeah,
and get it in
yeah,
the first list. I mean,
yeah,
don't leave it
yeah,
there.
yeah. Don't leave it for the waitlist.
Yes, it's always better to be sure rather than being in waitlist.
Yeah.
So another set of questions that I can see is those around the mentorship program, and some people who have forgotten to fill it. So I guess they can always email us to ignition@iiml.ac.in. That email ID must be moving somewhere on the top. So you can always write to us there. We'll see what can be done there. And even another question that people are asking is, if they have a gap of 2 years, how can they justify that? And they want to know the class profile of ABM students. If is everyone from the agriculture background there, or someone from non-agri background is also there?
So this year, ABM total students are around 64, and not everybody is from core agriculture background. We have engineers, we have people from commerce background, and all kinds of. Basically, the ABM course is very diverse in terms of the background of the students that take admission, and there is no such concentration of any particular background, like people only from agri background, because I think this year around 15% of the people carry a core agri background, but the rest, all of the people are from various backgrounds.
Yeah, thanks, Tamish. Another question: what should people with UPSC gap expect in interview? Can you? Yeah.
Uh, I'll try to take this question. So I'll try to answer a few questions in this thing. Like for an example, if you have a lot of gap between your UG and your PG, or if you are just preparing for something, how will you justify that gap? So I hope my voice is clear.
2 मिनट बंद कर रहे हैं.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you're audible.
Yeah, so basically, if I talk about like a long gap between UG and PG, let's say I had a gap of 4 years between when I completed my graduation
2 मिनट
and
तो
when I joined
10:15 पे खत्म है.
MBA college. So yeah, it doesn't matter. They just want to understand that what exactly were you doing and how serious were you, during these years. And my all the questions like which they asked me revolve around my work
पाठक को दे
experience
दो.
majorly,
खा लिया
right?
मैंने.
When I talk about a proper gap, like you're not working also, so basically I had to drop off my college in the
दे दो.
third year of my basically college because I was
खा लो, सारा खा लो.
I've
पाठक को दे दो ना
as a
थोड़ा.
like with few of my
पाठक
friends
ने भी नहीं
we
खाया.
started a
I had
base
it.
company in our college time also, and we had to
पाठक
drop
को
out
दे
from
दो,
the
मैंने
college
खा लिया है.
during that time.
मैंने खा
And
लिया, मैंने
after
वीडियो
2
पे
years,
था,
we
खा
finished the
मत बोलो.
college. So there was a pretty much gap between those 2 years, right? But when the interviewer asked about this thing, we were like, I was very well able to, tell them that what exactly I was doing, what was the idea, and why there was a need of, taking a break from the college because it was a well-funded startup and we were actually earning, we had profitability and all that. So I think till the end, if you're able to justify by yourself, like if you're preparing for UPSC, of course you will be doing something. You will have some general knowledge. You must have done some kind of work, right? So they will ask you question around that, and if you're able to answer that, it is justifiable to them that you tried something, and at the end, if that didn't work out, you try to choose something else. So you have to be very thorough in terms of that why at the end of the day you're coming for a MBA, right? So for example, it was for me that initially I was doing engineering, then I tried to quit my college and started doing my own started my own company. Then I quit that, and then I started working with some other firm, and then I joined MBA. So I gave them a proper idea that initially I wanted to do something, but I think it was too early to start. Hence, I tried to gain some experience to like working in a corporate, and then I decided when I got a proper sense of entire corporate, and this is something which I want to do in my life, I try to pursue a new degree in the same. So until unless you are able to justify yourself, until unless you are very thorough with like why you want to do, and again guys, like I'll be very honest, of course you want to do MBA, that's the reason you're in. If that thing is there in your core, you will be able to explain that, because you just have to be honest, like this is the reason I'm doing it, this is the reason why I feel like I should be doing this, or why I fit for this course. So yeah, gap doesn't matter until unless you're able to explain it. It's totally fine, it's totally okay. I hope I answered few
Yeah,
questions.
thanks, Anurag, for this quite exhaustive answer. So another set of questions, or maybe the last question for this session we can take, is something around if the students don't have their original mark sheets, or so they are asking if they have to carry the extracurricular certificates and all during the PI. So if anyone wants to take it up, or should I answer?
I think Pratik, you can take it up here.
Okay, in terms of the original mark sheets and all, if like in my case, it was with my final degree was not with me. My college has not issued it, so I showed them the consolidated one. And even for the students, those who don't have the original mark sheet at that time, so they give them a certain timeline in which they can submit those mark sheet, but they ask for a photocopy or a Xerox copy of that too. And in terms of extracurricular certificates, it's always better if you have mentioned something in your PI form, then you should carry proofs of that along with you.
Also, if in case you're a fresher and your result hasn't been released yet, uh, there is a document that you have to get. There's a bona fide certificate that you have to get it from your college itself. You just have to keep that with you for your process. I guess that is something that helped me. So yes, or you can't have that.
There will
Yeah.
be dedicated time in you, like for you to produce the original mark sheets and transcripts, so it's fine.
Okay, so great. Let's wrap it up here. Thanks a lot to all the panelists who have taken out time for this wonderful session and clear the doubts of upcoming aspirants. We constantly have around 200 to 25 folks with us during the session, and a lot of queries have been resolved, I guess. Add more on that, we have our mentorship program running on. Those who have filled the form, they might have assigned the mentors. I would urge everyone to please make use of that, get some slots from them, and get your mock PIs done as soon as possible. Don't leave it to the last moment, because the mentors might be busy and they might not be able to take out time for you during just a 1 day or 2 day before your interview. So make sure to reach out to them in timely manner and make use of their experience as well. Do check out the PI kit, and do check all the past experiences of the students that are mentioned there. For any further queries, you can always follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and write to us on our email ID, which is being circulated here. So we'll try to answer all your queries as soon as possible. And good luck, everyone. Hope to see you all in hell soon. Bye bye. Thanks a lot to all the panelists and our alums who joined us. Once again, thanks Nehal and Shubham.
All the best, guys. Hope to see you all soon here.
Yeah. All the best and thank you.
Guys.
All the best and thank you.
Yes.
All the best.
All the best, guys. Hope to see you on the other side soon.